Hey, I'm Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about one of my favorite games from Geeky of the West 2023. And really, I enjoyed a lot of games, but this is the one that I've been thinking about the most, I think, because I think I do better than the time that I played at Geekway. I played an 8-player game of Challengers, which sounds like a lot, but you're actually only involved in head-to-head matchups with one other player at any given time. So you can play a 2-player game if you want and just be matched up against one player. You can play a 4-player game, get matched up against a few people, or you can play a giant 8-player game and it lasts pretty much the same amount of time even for those 8 players because you are only having one duel or simultaneous duels with one other player at a time. It's a really interesting game in that it's a deck building game with a very slim deck, and you have a few choices as you're building the deck. At the beginning of each round, you get to draw 5 cards from deck A, B, or C, depending on that round. Sometimes you have a choice between A or B, or B or C. Sometimes you don't have that choice. You're going to keep a few cards if you'd like, discard the rest, then draw back up to 5 cards. And you ultimately, out of those cards combined with the cards that you previously kept, you get to keep a total of 2 cards and you add it to your deck. You also have a decision there as to any cards in your deck that you just want to remove from your deck. So there's deck culling whenever you want, and there's also you add to your deck every round. That decision point of how many cards to add, how many cards to remove, or which cards to remove, which cards to add, and also when you have a choice, which deck do you draw from, all add up to some really interesting choices in terms of how your deck evolves over the course of 8 rounds. And I really like that it does evolve over 8 rounds. It isn't just a choice that you're making once at the beginning of the game. It's a structured choice that happens simultaneously with all other players at the end of each round, that in a way that you get to see your deck evolve and kind of level up from round to round. And all of this is paired with something that's really interesting that doesn't sound great on paper, but it actually works really well in that whenever you get involved in a duel, you can see some duels in action here, 2 of the duels, there aren't many choices to make at that point. You're pretty much just auto-playing your deck. You shuffle your deck up, you reveal a card or more cards if you're trying to beat the card that your opponent has out there. And then every now and then a card will say something like, take some of your cards from your bench and put them on your deck. So you do have a choice there. But for the most part, you were just letting your deck run itself because you've already made the choices. You've already chosen which cards to put in your deck, which cards to pull out of your deck. I thought that would be weird while we were playing, but it actually worked really well. I liked how that played. It made the game flow really well, and it made each game play really fast. Everything was simultaneous. You were playing simultaneously. You were selecting cards simultaneously. So in this game, this giant game with 8 players with lots of great decisions, really 8 key decisions made throughout the game, meaty 8 decisions, it still flowed extremely well. I think we were done in about 30 minutes. Yeah, Challengers, a game that's been on my mind. I want to play it better. I want to do better than I did the first time I played, and try some other strategies. But I really like this idea of like kind of a mini condensed deck building that is very structured, that levels up from one round to the next as you play against a bunch of different people at the table. If you can think of any other game that does this, let me know in the comments below. Or if you've played Challengers, I'd love to hear your thoughts about the game as well in the comments. Thanks.